I think you ought to know. Do-do-what-it-up, Men's Radio. Do-do-what-it-up, the place where men and women really speak. Do-do-what, do-do-do-what. Oh man, what a show. Do-do-what-it-up. It's Men's Radio. Do-do-what-it-up. This crazy show is on 3 times a week. Do-do-what, do-do-do-what. Now Russ and Phil are there to help with all your cares. We laugh, we cry, we talk like grown-ups do. But if you're sad and low, do-do-what-it-up. It won't cost you no dough. Do-do-what-it-up. Men's Radio, that's the place for you. With Russ, Kane, and Phil Dave.
That's it. Well, it's been a great week and a fabulous Friday show. Thanks to Chantal. Thanks to everybody. We'll see you next Monday.
Bye.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Monday.
Let's kick off with the most important. Let's kick off, apart from saying hello to Barry J. Allen and to Sue Sleet, with a happy midsummer. No doubt about that. There's a happy midsummer. Yes, to you. And Paul Andrews. I'm not sure how Paul talks, but it's probably not Scottish. Boom. Indeed. Congratulations to Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil, who is an uncle for the second time with another little nephew.
Oh. Friday afternoon or late afternoon, early evening.
And what weighed this newcomer into this fabulous world of wokenness?
I don't know, but they were saying something like he cost £6 or something like that.
Bargain. It cost £6 just to be delivered.
Sunny Spain, viva España.
Michael Verby says good morning from sunny Spain.
Well, you see, Michael Verby, who lives in Leeds for reasons only known to Michael Verby, and I think the last time I saw him, he was 5 or 7 years old. But he's off to see his sister, Stacey, who lives in Spain, apparently. Wonderful, Phil. Ed Grossman's very, very excited.
Thank you.
Andrea Lucas, this is a strange word. Yay, mazel tov. No, I don't know that word. To the family on the new arrival. How lovely. Little baby. It's called Baby Phil Dave. First name's Phil, second name's Dave, then whatever the surname is, because it's his sister.
Okay, I need to ask a favour.
Why the hell are you? Have you got, what's the matter with you? What do you do with the bouncing?
I'm in a jolly mood. So anyway.
Well, you weren't in a jolly mood 5 minutes ago. You were in a pretty bad mood 5 minutes ago. You were in a crappy mood. You're just being show busy now. Come on.
Okay. All right. I tell you why I'm in a jolly mood is because I'm hoping it will make you say yes to me finishing off my rice cake.
Go on.
Thanks.
It's unbelievable. Congratulations, Grandma. That'd be Linda Dave. Congratulations to you and your second grandson. How very lovely. Andrea Lee, because he needs the loo. He needs a slap. Then he needs the loo. My lovely cousin, Francine Warner, who I had the pleasure of seeing yesterday. Gorgeous men. Fran. I never know what your little things. You've got kisses and then I actually can't read these things. And Jules Silverman, always wise, says, Happy Monday. Time is flying. It was last Monday yesterday. That's exactly how it feels. Isn't it? It's exactly how it feels. The weeks just... Because I'm under a deadline with the book. And I thought, yeah, loads of time. No. Good afternoon, says Paul Claridge. Good afternoon, everyone. And congratulations to Phil and his family. Well, Phil had very little to do with it, to be honest with you. Let's be honest. I think the congratulations should go to Linda Dave, who must be thrilled. She must be like a cat with 2 tails. I don't even know what that means. She must be very, very excited and lovely.
Rather excited by the prospect, so thank you very much indeed. Emma Webb also says, hello all, congrats to the Dave family on the new arrival. Thank you very much indeed. I should pass that congrats on to the Friedman family, who is certainly aimed at...
So basically, this new baby is called Phil Dave Friedman.
Not quite, no.
That would be so brilliant. If your sister just said, yeah, I'm going to do that. First name Phil, second name Dave, and her surname Friedman. That would be just genius. It would be hilarious.
Possibly. But also technically bad luck in our religion, as you well know. You're not supposed to name someone after someone who's living. Chrissy Holtz.
That's good news.
All this year I'm off to sunny Spain. Viva
energy today.
Chrissy Holt says he is eating. Oh, I see. Me, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, he's eating. I know he's eating. What a surprise.
Chrissy says we're having 4 cheese pizza now and new potatoes. And then she goes on to say, hi, both.
Hang on, Chrissy, you're having pizza and potatoes.
Carb Central.
Jesus. Oh my God, we'd be having a siesta that lasts until Wednesday after that. If I had that, I'd be done. Emma Webb says, Linda, Dave, Grandma, we love you. That's what you mean. I just want to shoot myself when I sing that. Anyway, it's lovely. And I'm sure Linda will be, somebody else to go and ruin and spoil. And Phil, you are going down that pecking order, boy.
Oh, don't worry. I feel like Prince Harry at the moment. I know my rank in the world. Don't you worry.
No, you're much more popular than Prince Harry. We actually like you. You're welcome.
Oh, thanks.
You seem like a charming fellow. Now then, I had a bit of a rant on Friday.
Not like you.
Hear me out. Let's see where the mighty Phil Dave falls on this particular issue and everybody else.
Are we allowed to, before we go any further with your rant or where you've been with your rant, are we allowed to just say a very quick hello to anyone who may be watching us either on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or indeed mensradiostation.com, Deluxe Radio or Radio Waves or Men's Radio Station app. Wherever you are listening, wherever you're watching, hi, you're very welcome.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. Did actually. To be honest, I was about to sort of do that, but I'm delighted that you did. Now, some of you will have noticed there's a football tournament on. Okay. And one of our regular listeners is Sue I'm going mad. Sue Cressman, the Queen of Nailcoat Hall, who has been obviously in the entertainment industry absolutely trashed by the pandemic. Trashed. Something like 120 weddings postponed. 120 weddings. And if that's your main business, just imagine what that does to your bottom line, right? Okay.
I wonder where you were with that sentence, to be honest with you.
Say again? What? What?
I wonder where you were going with that sentence, to be honest with you. But anyway,
it was a story of economics and hardship. Just because I mentioned the word bottom and you got all excited. Oh, good posty. Anywho, it's this. So no one could do. Oh, good God! What is this? Tony Green says, "I'm driving with no makeup on. You can't see us, can you? I look about 100." Tony, I can see you because you've got. If you're tuned into us, obviously, I'm just looking right through. You know the air vents in your car. I can see right through them.
Tony, you never apologize. You always look $1 million, whichever you are.
In small change. I think Tony's a sort of vague relative of mine. I don't know what it would be. It's not like it's kind of a relative. You're kind of a relative.
Of course, that would be Rwandan dollars, but let's not dwell on it.
I don't even know what that is. Somewhere in Rwanda. Now then, and Martin Allen says, I don't follow golf. So I have no idea if this is good, bad, or indifferent. Well done to John Rahm. Am I pronouncing that right? My sporting prowess coming out on winning the the Golf US Open. What a great victory. Okay. He won it by 3 goals and 2 wickets. Now then, back to what I was saying. Football tournament. And it was England versus Scotland on whatever day it was, Friday, I think it was. I don't know, I wasn't really following. And obviously Leicester Square here in London absolutely ran because we had something like 25,000 people from Scotland come down to watch the game at Wembley Stadium. Absolutely heaving. London packed. Packed. Can't have a wedding. Can't hug your family. Can't be with your people with your relatives when they're dying. But you can have a football game. Put aside all the emotional stuff that you can't be with those that you love at a most critical time. I mean, the people going through hell on earth when they've got their elderly parents or grandparents in care homes and haven't been able to be with them. It's brutal. But it just strikes me that you can't have one rule for one and one rule for the other. It doesn't make any logical sense. Why are you going through all of this hardship and heartache. And we've all been good little citizens. I mean, Phil and I have been very serious about it, done what we were told, like great little Kafkaesque citizens. 20,000 people come down from Scotland, cram into Leicester Square, go to a football match. I don't understand it. How can this possibly be fair? I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I'm saying, how can it be fair? Now, when I put this up on Facebook, I just did it as a sort of rant. I put a picture of the crowd and say, but you can't have a wedding, right? Entertainment industry has been destroyed. Hospitality industry on its knees. Restaurants dying on their ass. And you can have a football match with thousands and tens of thousands of people. Please explain this to me. And
just to be clear, though, okay, because I'm sure you're honest, and I want to make it clear, just in case anyone is confused by this, is that from today, okay, we were supposed to see all restrictions lifted today, and we know that's not happening now. But what has changed today is that from today, there have been changing in the rules as far as care home visits are concerned, and also changing the rules as far as weddings are concerned. There's now no longer a limit on the number of people who can go to a wedding. The biggest problem you've got at the moment is no dancing yet, and also they do have to be socially distanced. So
you can't dance, but you can come down from Scotland, and I don't really give a good goddamn where they came from. It's irrelevant. They could have come from Manchester. It's not the point. Scotland's not the point. But you can come down to London, totally take over Leicester Square. I mean, thousands and thousands of people. And you're saying that you can't dance at a wedding, and you're looking what's going on in just Leicester Square. This is madness. This is absolutely madness. It's not fair. I hope that all those people who are now allowed to go to care homes, right, their loved ones are still around and still in a compos mentis state enough that they can enjoy their visits. It's been ghastly. Funerals, ghastly. And you can't dance at a wedding. This is just bullshit, isn't it? I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's absolute bullshit. It's got to stop now. Enough's enough. You can't, it's a mockery. It's an absolute mockery. Now, when I put this up, I want to put the other side of the coin, and I'm going to throw it to Phil. All right? Sandy Waugh, who is a very, very respected journalist, very respected. I've worked with Sandy for many, many years, since the 80s, and highly respected in the industry, said, basically, she would say, look, Russ, you're not getting the point. This was all outside. Really? I can't see, if you're crammed cheek by jowl in Leicester Square, how that's okay. That's outside. This is nonsense.
Well, that is
not fair.
That is the justification for it. Now, one might agree or disagree with it, but that is supposedly the reason why, when you look at a wedding, it's not very likely that in this country anyway, that a wedding would take place in an outdoor environment.
You might be in a marquee, or you'd be in a hall, or you'd be in something. You're not going to be shoved into a phone box. Let's be truthful about it.
And look, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but it's, as far as I'm aware, this is what the justification for the rules are. But Ed Grossman asks, Rush, should we ban, or should Her Majesty's government rather ban the 2,000 plus officials from UEFA coming to Wembley pre the 19th of July? Yes. They shouldn't ban them, shove them in quarantine. It's not difficult.
Yeah, you want to do that? You have the same rules as every other joker who has to come here.
Everyone else has to, who comes from amberless countries, has to go into quarantine hotel, or at least quarantine from home. Why the hell shouldn't they?
Of course they should. Of course they should. Paul Claridge from East Croydon. Russ, I feel angry on behalf of Sue and Rick, that's Sue and Rick Cressman, as the box park in Croydon was full to the rafters with drunken football fans, cheering, singing and partying, all in a confined space, no proper social distance, and yet weddings can't have singing or dancing. It's bullshit. Sorry. I have been as supportive as I possibly can be in these measures. I've done everything that I was told to do. I really have. Phil, equally. And then you see this. It's just giving two fingers to everyone who's given up a year and a half of their lives. That's what it is. It's just saying, you're an idiot. Look what we've made you do. Look what we're letting these
people do. One can only assume, though, and this is absolutely not a justification for it at all, but it's the only logic I can think of, that if they're trying to control a load of sporadic football fans coming from God knows whereabouts, all congregating in their thousands wherever it may be, to police that would be very difficult. So it's much
Well, they
easier.
didn't even bother, did they?
No, I know.
They didn't even bother.
Much easier
I'm beginning to think,
around
please,
and
what
say,
was
actually,
the
no,
point?
don't worry about it. It's fine. That can happen. Yes, of course, if you've got a wedding, that they could say, well, it's in an indoor environment and it's one place and there's a couple of hundred in one place. That's not allowed. I mean, it is now, but it wasn't up until today. So it is ridiculous. But anyway,
It's disgraceful that I'm not singling her out because I mean I know her through the radio, Sue Cressman, etc. But everybody in the hospitality industry, and you think how far that radiates out. You know, caterers, the staff, the people making the food, the people who put up the tents and everything else, waiters, waitresses, everybody who needs a damn job, out the window, playing a game of football, kicking a bit of leather around. It's fine. It's fine. Either just say it's fine and let's just get on with it, or don't say it's fine. It can't be both. You know, it's like being a little bit. It's like being a little bit pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. You're not a little bit pregnant. This is rubbish. It's just rubbish.
but of course, the funny thing is, the UEFA actually did turn around and say that if the officials have to quarantine, then they would just simply hold it in Turkey instead, as if that's somehow punishment. Fine, bye, go on.
Fine, hold it in bloody Turkey instead. I don't care.
Much better. Don't put
Fine.
us.
Sod off to Erdogan's or whatever it is. That guy's country. Go there. Good luck with that. Jules Silverman, I've had to postpone my dating nights. You saucy minx. Oh, I see. No, this is her business. I beg your pardon. Rather misunderstood there, Jules. If you're watching on radio, I'm raising my eyebrows in a suggestive manner. I've had to postpone my dating nights to the end of July into August. My nights have a maximum of 24. Not 24,000, just 24 under controlled circumstances. Bullshit. So, Linda Dave, Russ, I look a little bit pregnant. Is there more congratulations in the Dave family?
I really hope it's not that sort of congratulations.
Well,
Steve,
you don't know. Your mum, she's a good-looking woman, and she's very vivacious.
not that.
And I haven't seen Ray wandering around today. He's probably exhausted somewhere or just run away. He could be just too nervous. Andrea Lucas.
There are some images that just do not need to be seen.
Thank you, baked potato.
Anyway, Andrea Lucas says, like that Sue's husband tore up the business rates.
Did you see that video?
No.
Did you see it? What he did, basically, if you've not been following the plan, that they've been losing. I'm not telling tales out of school because Sue talked about it, and she's posted on it here. She's been losing. It's costing them £50,000 a month. They haven't laid off staff, etc., etc., etc. Right? They've been brilliant and been really loyal. Yeah. They're getting business rates. They can't pay the business rates. So Rick, who is Sue's American husband, who I've never met, I was looking forward to meeting him, but that's gone out the window, set fire to the rates. Took a video and he just set fire to the rates. Said, fine, come and get us.
Work for Adele, I suppose. Oh, no, that was Set Fire to the Rain, sorry.
I wouldn't know any of her songs.
Oh.
I know Rolling in the Deep.
Wasted on you then.
Complete, but everybody else loved it.
Stephen Marsh says, there were
Stephen
photos
Marsh.
in the newspapers the other day of Piers Corbyn on the Piccadilly line, technically Victoria line, but don't worry, I won't hold that against you. Obviously not wearing a mask, ripping down the TfL social distancing notices in the train carriages. Why would he do that? How long have you got?
Why would he do it? He's a raving lunatic.
We're talking about him now. He's irrelevant, and that's exactly why he does it. It's a publicity stunt. It's one thing to have your own opinion, but he's forcing his upon others. Now, look, I really don't want to give much more airtime to that lunatic than we already have. That other stations have done. He's done it for no other reason than publicity. He lost miserably in the race to become the next mayor of London.
God almighty, can you imagine?
But
Maniac.
we also need to point out that he is an attention seeker. And
You think?
he's doing things for attention, and sadly, we're giving it to him. So might I just say this? He is a moron, a dangerous moron of the first degree. And as far as I'm concerned, the fact that he goes around and openly videos himself taking down social distancing signs, instructing those who maybe need a little bit of guidance during the pandemic, who could actually ultimately lose lives as a result of his actions. Let's not forget that, by the way. If people are not reminded to socially distance and they don't, and someone catches something, it could go on to someone losing their life. Let's give that a moment's thought, shall we? He doesn't seem to have any ramifications whatsoever that I can see. That video went viral. And to the best of my knowledge, he's not been arrested for vandalism at the very least.
Has he been arrested? Has he been cautioned? Nothing, which is why here's the thing, and then you say, what that leads to me is, what is the point of the police? What?
Yeah.
Professional taking the knees. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why is it we've got to be, so specially careful and everything? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's extraordinary.
But anyway.
Are you on talk radio that interviewed Lady C, Phil?
Yes, that one.
See, you never see, one thing I will tell you, Chrissy, in Spain, is that you never see Phil Dave and Lady C. I can't remember what's her name, Lady Colin.
Campbell.
Yeah, Donald Campbell. You never see them in the same room at the same time. Phil, when he's not being Phil Dave, is Lady C. That's how he makes a very good living. It's incredible. He created this character. It's been a huge success.
That is a terrifying thought. And
Yeah.
I don't thank you for it.
That is why you're a very wealthy fellow. It's a genius. It's a genius idea. Barry Watson created Edna Everage. Barry Humphries created Edna Everage, and Phil Dave created Lady C. It was inspired. That's
Right.
all I have to say.
Paul Andrews, don't you start.
No, it is. It is. We want to say hello and wish well. It hasn't come up on thing, but I just saw a post earlier this morning. Early in the morning. God, I hate songs like that. To Dave Sleet. I think Dave Sleet's a bit under the weather. So to Bernard Chumley.
Well, Dave Sleet did pop up earlier. There he is. He says,
there he is. There he is. He did one. I thought I saw a thing, and it wasn't like didn't seem you were too good, and I just wanted to. I hadn't seen that message. So, Dave, wish you well. Hope everything is okay. And I would make a plug. I'm going to plug one of our shows on the station, John Ryan show, which is on Mondays. I can't believe it's another Monday. It's absolutely terrifying. Another Monday, 7:00 live tonight. John Ryan, excellent show. I mean, really. Excellent show. I think if you like this show and you like talented people, so I don't know why you watch us, but John Ryan, very funny, very clever, very good broadcaster. It's a really neat show. I think you'll like it. 7:00 live. You can always watch it again on it's not catch up, you just watch it on the YouTube channel, Men's Radio Station, the YouTube channel. Go along. If you're there, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. It would be absolutely lovely. Paul Claridge, you see, you're wrong here. You see, your East Croydon attempt at sarcasm has just blown up in your face worse than one of your Eastern European drug gangs beating you up. We never see Russ Kane and Mr. Blobby together in the same room. Wrong. I was in Panto with Mr. Blobby. So there. And we shared the stage. Consequently, your argument is pants. There we are. Oh, that's a lovely. Do you want to read out Paul Andrews' statement? That's a lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul.
Paul Andrews says,
wow, that's I'm very emotional. Thank you for that.
To be honest, there's no reason not to retune away from MRS at any time.
That is so nice of you, Paul. Thank you very, very much indeed. When I did Panda Mr. Blob,
it is worth also pointing out, by the way, that Paul Andrews does not possess a radio, but it's fine. Don't worry, we can take it.
Mr. God, Stephen Marsh, accountant to the stars. Mr. Blobby had to self-isolate as he came out in spots when I did Panto with Mr. Blobby, Mr. Blobby was huge at the time. So we did, there'd be a character like Postman Pat or Mr. Blobby or Spider. They had no relation, but they'd always bring in one of these ludicrous characters into whatever it was, right? And Noel Edmonds and the BBC, eventually it was Noel Edmonds who owned the rights to Mr. Blobby. And the producers of all these hundreds of shows, very successful there. And he said, "We want Mr. Blobby," and they said, "Well, we have to see sight of the script first." and he replied, he said, "We have to see sight of the script," like you're asking Robert De Niro to be in something. And he went, "Here's a man in a bloody rubber suit. What do you think?" Just ridiculous.
I need to ask you something about John Ryan.
Yeah, go ahead.
You live in Japan.
I have no idea. Oh, that no! I tell you why. I tell you that is. First time I saw that, I was having a long Zoom call. We're talking about the show and everything, the sort of plans we had, and he had that, and I said, "Do you work in a Chinese restaurant or something? Or where are you broadcasting from? The corner of Japan Express takeaway." It's really nice. It's a very clever thing. It's a screen he's got. I was very impressed.
I have to tell you, if he does live in Japan, that I'm extraordinarily jealous.
Would you like to be? Oh, you like Japan, didn't you? You like it there.
Love it. It's an incredible country. If anyone's never been there, I know it's not the cheapest place to go to, but my goodness, it's fantastic.
What did you like about it the best?
Okay, couple of things, but the first answer is actually the discipline. The discipline, that the fact that the Japanese people, by and large, and this is not being xenophobic, this is actually factually accurate, they have so much inbuilt respect for their country that no one that I can see anyway really puts a foot out of place. When you go to, for example, the schools, all the uniforms are actually uniform. Now, there's a novelty for you. So when you see children in this country wearing uniform, some people try and make their tie look a bit different. Maybe they have the collar turned up. They maybe have different colored shoes, different socks, whatever it may be. No. In Japan, everyone in school is the same. You're told what shoes to get. You're told what socks to get. You have the trousers on the same way. You have the tie on the same way. Everything is identical. What that does is it teaches you a mutual respect for everyone else around you. It tells you that no one is better than you. I was asking about sort of the culture behind it. It's an incredible system behind it. And also, it's the discipline as well. Because
isn't it interesting, Phil?
Later life. And it's just such an amazing
Phil,
clean.
Isn't it interesting? The detractors would go, "Oh, they're just compliant. They're just compliant. They're slaves. They're browbeat." It's and it's like, that's why we don't wear masks, because we're British. And you think that's because you're an idiot. We won't do that. I don't get it. It's really interesting, isn't it? That attitude has so gone from the UK. It's finished. It's done. Be a maverick. Hey, go into a tube carriage and rip off the things that are there to save people's lives. Come on, for Christ's sake.
Phil, it's the same in North Korea. Not quite the same, but yes, I hear what you're saying. There is just
that's a really trick. I know Phil Ed's having a pop. I get it, but it's a clever point.
Well,
it's not an unclever point.
No, yes and no. I'd argue that because the difference is in North Korea, if you don't do something, you're likely to die. If you don't do it,
you get shot. You're likely to get. I think that is the main difference.
In Japan,
I think
they bring people up to have that level of respect that they wouldn't dare do otherwise. Not because they live in fear, but because actually respect is a clean word. Respect.
That's the word fear.
Over there.
That's the word. The word is fear. The word is fear. In North Korea, you step out of line, you're going to go to a gulag, or you're simply going to disappear because you're going to be shot. End of. That's the fact, right? They're terrified, and they live in really awful circumstances. Japan, I would argue about their work ethic because I think that is pretty scary stuff. But I don't think they're afraid in that they don't think they're going to be taken out in the street and shot.
Not at all. And it's not like that there either. Okay, I grant you that they didn't have the best reputation from years ago, but certainly not now. It's just it so happens that the country is very good at respecting rules and regulations, not through fear. And
Stephen Marsh.
if it wasn't for the fact that his name is pronounced Kim Jong-un, it would be mildly amusing.
It's a great gag. North Korea, where Kim Jong-un dies, he'll be replaced by Kim Jong-de. Come on. That's very quick. Oh, good. Ed Grossman, Phil, I actually agree, but you need to be specific, I think. Well, I think Phil's kind of like, yeah, no, don't rise to the bait. He's only poking you with a stick. You know, Ed is a very intelligent guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just winding you up. Chrissy Richards, I can't read your other comment because it's libelous, but when I was at high school, 58 to 64, we had uniform. I had to wear it properly. If you didn't get detentions. Well, I was at boarding school, and boy, oh boy, if you deviated 1 millimeter from the school regulations, you were in terrible trouble. You were not allowed to have pens in your outside jacket breast pocket. Only prefects could have their jackets undone. If you had your jacket undone, that was punishable. Talk about strict, my God. Oh my God! If your shoes weren't shiny, it was heavy. It was very, very, very heavy.
And I would bet it makes you a better person for it.
Well, I'm very self-disciplined. Always have been, and I'm very self-reliant. I don't rely on people. People like, oh, I bet you need it. No, I don't, because you know I was there at 9 years old. From 9 years old, if you didn't get your act together, you were really in trouble. So I got my act together, and I'd never been away from home before. So it was a brutal regime. I have to tell you. It was not delightful in those days. It was. It might as well. I mean, in those days, it felt it could have been like that. That's interesting. Was that God? If that's God, I really have to rethink religion, because if he talks like that, it explains so much. Come on, if you're hard enough. Come on, if you're I'm God. Can you imagine if you talk like that?
Okay. What did you do yesterday?
Did you say that again?
What did you do yesterday? Did you do anything for Father's Day?
Yes, I had a very nice family event. It was delightful. I was invited somewhere, and it was absolutely lovely.
No, I tell you the reason why I asked is not to put you on the spot, even though I have put you on the spot, is because I saw on social media yesterday, as I sort of crept back onto it for a moment, rather nice photos that your daughter put up.
Oh, that really choked me up. I didn't know she was going to do that. Really choked me up. It was lovely. She did. It was very, very sweet of her. She's a great kid. Yeah. And it wasn't bad. Out of 4 kids, I had a beautiful card from my daughter and text message from my eldest son. No kiss or anything, just a text message. It's amazing he knows I'm still alive. And then one of the twins sent a very lovely WhatsApp message, and the other one is out of my will. Sod him. He wants to borrow the car. He can sod off. He can bring it all down. He can bring it all down from Bath University on his motorbike. See how that works out. He's finished. No, he's not. He just doesn't think like that. He's a very technical guy. He just doesn't think like that at all.
That's interesting. Actually, you've raised a really, really valid point there. Okay? I was having this discussion without going into too much specifics. I was having this discussion with someone the other day when the person was saying to me how they don't care very much for when someone doesn't message one way or another when something occurs. Okay, yeah. So birthday or an anniversary or something like that.
I'm really not fussed.
And I said, I don't really care. And I genuinely don't. I don't really mind. If someone forgets to message or just doesn't.
People have busy lives. It's okay.
It's not the first thing that crosses my mind, you see. If it is someone's birthday or I don't know, something like that, maybe it would come up on social media. If I don't bother with social media anymore, I don't even know that much now. And I just don't think like that. You know, I've a couple of times where I've actually thought to myself, I must message somebody and say hello because I haven't spoken to them for ages. On the other hand, I think to myself, hang on, they didn't message me. But no, but it goes a little bit beyond that, really, because I know two wrongs don't make a right. But I feel as though that
message. You're back in Japan.
You what? Sorry.
That's the worst panto joke. Move on. It was so bad. I can't believe I said it.
But I missed it. I didn't hear what you said.
You said it's so bad I can't repeat it. It's awful. You said 2 wrongs don't make a right. It's a sort of panto gag. Go on.
2 wrongs don't make a right.
No, it's silly. It was a play on. I think it was probably like a Bobby Davro gag or Gary Wilmot, like 2 wrongs don't make a right. just,
What?
If you were doing Aladdin, you
I see.
silly jokes like, God. I wish you'd just moved on.
I don't get it.
Move on.
No, but hang on a second. If there's a moment of humour here, I want to share in the
It's
joke.
quite hilarious. It's like the old thing about this, what was it? No, it's old humour. Come on, it doesn't matter. Move on. It really, it's just me amusing myself for a minute.
If there's an opportunity to have a laugh here, I don't think we should let this moment pass.
I think we should just move on. Yes.
But I think that on a really miserable month.
Slap you, I swear to God. I don't care if you just become an uncle again. I'm getting in the car. I'm driving to Hertfordshire. I'm going to just slap you on. Move on before the postbag fills up. Thank you, Paul. You've got that right. You got that right.
It was quite funny, really. I thought.
It was funny. You rinsing it. That was good. That was good. No, yeah, but it was very, very nice. We were invited out, and it was delightful. It was really lovely. It was a family thing. It was really, really sweet. Yes. Martin Allen, 1. Do I remember the song Turning Japanese? Yeah, Turning Japanese. I'm really turning Japanese. I really think so. Can I recall what the song's about? Yes, Martin, I can. And I'm not discussing it on the radio, you naughty chap.
Lisa Jane says, I have to say, you guys look like Bonnie and Ivory. I'm guessing that shouldn't be Bonnie, but anyway. Russ looks like dark wood. Good Lord. And Phil looks like porcelain. Ha ha.
Well, Phil, I have to say, your hours, which you're turning, is slowly turning you into a vampire. I mean, Phil works ridiculous hours, and crazy hours, and it's
last Friday was a bit of a record. Not this Friday, just gone. The Friday before. Started at 2 a.m. and ended up finishing at 7:30 p.m.
Oh, it's stupid. Ed Grossman. Now, the band that did Turning Japanese, I can't remember the name of the band. You have to help me. It's gone out of my head. And Ed Grossman, I used to act for that band 50 years back, almost. Ed was very heavy in the financial arena for popular music. Ebony and Ivory, says Lisa Jane. So yeah. I kind of just look at the sun. I never sunbathe. Ever. You will always find me in the shade, under a tree, under an umbrella. Was it the Vapors?
Yes.
The Vapors, thanks, Ed. I would have never, ever have got that. It's a good tune, actually. It was a good tune.
Also known as the e-cigarettes.
The reason, here we go, Dave Sleep. The Vapors, yes, thank you, Lisa Malidore. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. The Vapors. It was. How could you remember that, Lisa? Well done, Dave Sleep. Who I hope, as I said, I hope you're feeling. If you're not feeling good, give me a tinkle after the show. Have a chat.
Hang on a second. You say, Lisa, how on earth do you remember that? The other day,
yeah,
I think it was actually yesterday. My mother asked me.
I'm being nice to a listener and a viewer. Now you're going to bitch it up. Go on.
Nice. So I see. No, because my mother asked me. I think it was yesterday, and see if you know the answers to this. Who sang the song "Shaking All Over"?
Shaking all over. Johnny Kidd and the Pirates, I think.
Very good. It is Johnny Kidd and the Pirates. And I answered that pretty much straight away. She said, hang on a second. How do you know that? I said, well, why did you ask me if you didn't think I knew it?
She was trying to catch you out. Now that you're so far down the pecking order, she's got 2 grandsons. You're like yesterday's man. She doesn't care anymore. That's just it.
I'm her yesterday man.
Chris Andrews.
Very good.
Dave Sleet. We can keep this up all day. Respect is grown from trust, understanding, and belief. The government messaging has not, this is very good. The government messaging has not encouraged trusting, understanding, and belief. When fear is not dealt with and the TUB, trust and understanding and belief, I presume that must be rating, is low, chaos is the natural outcome. Dave Sleet has a brain like a planet. And he kind of, yeah.
I've just done a search on Google. I mean, other search engines are available, obviously, for TUB ratings.
Yeah.
And the first website that comes up is the 10 best bathtubs of 2020. That wasn't what I expected to see.
It's just so silly, isn't it? It's just, that's my sense of the ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. The reason I mentioned the whole thing about, I'm not having a bang against the football fans. I don't care one way. If they like football and they're enjoying it, fantastic. Good luck. Good luck. You know, it's not my cup of tea, but people, millions and millions of people adore it. So that's great. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Right. But it's this. I got annoyed and upset and irritated, and I got angry, and none of that is good for your mental health. That's the reason I brought it up. I wasn't moaning about football. I don't care about it. You know, doesn't affect me. But it just seems so unfair. Ed Grossman, because of your comment that other search engines are available, says, Phil, do you still use Ask and Friends Reunited?
Yes.
He probably does. Friends Reunited. Isn't it amazing, though? At the time, that was going to be huge. That was going to be just gigantic. Yeah. Now known as e-cigarettes, says Paul Andrews. That was your gag. Lack of sleep has made your gags funnier, Phil. Good news. Yeah. I'm the same as Phil. If I get super tired and like you kind of get supercharged, you do collapse eventually. There's no ifs or buts. You suddenly, your body just says, hey, everybody, we've had enough. You remember the numbskulls when you were kids in the comics and you have eyes department, nose department, mouth department, ears. I used to love that. And they were all talking to each other like they controlled your head. Do you remember that, Phil? Beano or the Dandy or something?
Not exactly.
Lisa, you don't remember that? It was great. Lisa Janes, Wales are doing so well. Ooh, does MySpace still exist? Well, don't know. Phil is coming onto MySpace. He's got to catch up. So Phil will probably be joining MySpace very soon. Paul Andrews, ITV bought Friends Reunited.
That's
really?
correct. Yes, that's correct.
A couple of months before Facebook started in the UK and wiped the value off the firm. Good old ITV. I didn't know they did that.
Perfectly true. Paul Andrews also says, out of interest,
where are we looking?
What's the best bathtub? Paul, I'm pleased to ask that.
Hi, we're dealing with mental health and well-being, but we also deal with bathtub queries.
Yes, in at number 10, the best bathtub is the best clawfoot. Oh, that's absolutely right. An American Bath Factory Chelsea clawfoot bathtub, a mere $1,440. Then in at number 9, it's best with jets. Oh, yes, it's the American Standard drop-in Whirlpool bathtub. Oh, it's a bargain. You got to click on it to see the price, apparently. And as far as the best oversized, in at number 7, it's the soaking bathtub from Wayfair, $781.
Well, our topic is all right. Out of Unit 1 into Unit 2. And how about a little bit of Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and you know who, all right? I'm so honored to work with him. When I was at school, I was 9 years old. We were allowed to listen to one radio program a week. We were actually allowed one radio program a week at boarding school. And the only thing we listened to was the Light program with Alan Freeman, Pick of the Pops. All right. When we were little kids. This was the highlight of the week on a Sunday at boarding school. And Sundays at boarding school were awful. I can't even tell you how miserable they were. Anyway, never in my wildest dreams as a 9-year-old listening to Alan Freeman on this huge valve radio that was in the common room in the boarding house did I ever think I'd be sharing a radio studio with him when I grew up. Absolutely floored me. I never got over that fact. Never. I talked to him about it.
I do know exactly what you mean though with that, because I've always said, and I don't look, I've been lucky enough to work with some incredible people. I don't really like name dropping myself because I just think for me, it doesn't do anything. But I will say that it was very similar for me when listening to, say, Tony Blackburn on the way to school. In a million years did I ever think I'd wind up producing him one day, and I did. So it was, it
is absolutely true. When we were schoolboys, we were in the same school, but we were schoolboys, and we were like 14, and Nicky Horn, and we're still great friends 50 plus years later. So Nicky and I, and I'd get the bus over to Palmer's Green, or he'd come over to me, but usually I'd get the bus over to Palmer's Green. I was like 14, 15 years old. And our heroes are, of course, Kenny Everett and Dave Cash. We absolutely loved them. They were our heroes, and we'd make these little radio shows, not to send to anywhere, just for our own amusement. Nicky had this stereo reel-to-reel Grundig TK20 tape recorder, and we'd make these shows for ourselves, and hours went by. We used to love doing it, and it was for no other reason, for our own enjoyment. No one else was going to listen to them, just for us. We never sent them out or anything, and never in a million years these two little 14, 15-year-old kids in Palmer's Green think we'd be working with the late Dave Cash, and we'd be working with the genius that was Kenny Everett, and meeting him and hanging out and in the studio. It was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. It really was. You never think, if you said to the little 14-year-old me, do you think you're going to be working with the 9-year-old me? You think you're ever going to meet Alan Freeman, let alone sit with and work with him? Right? It was incredible. I never got over it. It was, it was an honor. And I get what you're saying about, Phil. I get what you're saying about Tony Blackburn, who's a mutual friend now, and Debbie, his wife, and everything. It's extraordinary. This was this huge legend that was Tony Blackburn. It's very easy to be sarcastic, but I think we've got through that stage because he's busier than ever, working at more stations than ever, more popular than ever. He was gigantic when he went to open like a supermarket or something. The queues, crash barriers, police. I mean, people forget what an absolute huge star he was. And he's still, people absolutely adore him because he's stayed true. He's stayed true. Oh, yes.
And that's
he does it because I'm not talking about the money. He loves the music. He is passionate about the music. He never tried to be trendy. He never tried to follow a particular trend or path. He followed his own path, and bless him.
And I tell you something for nothing, what you hear on air is exactly what you get off air.
Oh, he's the same guy. He's the same guy.
Totally.
It's actually not an act. He's the same funny, this isn't good. Noel Edmonds was one of my heroes as a kid. Oh, Jesus, Paul. Never thought I'd be walking out of a meeting with him. Oh, God. It happens. It happens, doesn't it?
Stephen Marsh, I went to lunch with Noel Edmonds. He wanted some flavouring on his main course, so I said, dill or no dill?
Please tell me that's over.
It's over.
Thank you. I had to hide from that. Linda Dave obviously got a thing about Tony. He was so gorgeous when he was young. He was a very handsome fella, wasn't he? He was very handsome. He's still the loveliest person. If you met him, what I love about, I don't know how Tony is now, in 70s, obviously. His enthusiasm hasn't waned at all. I was with my cousin, my first cousin. Yes, I got a much older cousin than me, and in my head, my cousin Harry and his mum and my dad were brother and sister. So he's my first cousin, and in my head, he's always man about town, 40 years old. Harry, I found out yesterday, was 88. Can be 89 next birthday. And I'm like, you blanking kidding me. And in my head, he hasn't changed. He was just hilarious. I mean, it's the same guy. He's still playing golf. Turns out he's playing golf with a very close friend of mine. I've forgotten that entirely. And, people go, oh, is he 88? Is he? No. He's exactly like he was, except he's 88 years old. He looks the same. talks the same. It's exactly the same, just as funny.
See, I don't think I'll be lucky enough for that. If I'm lucky
Right.
enough to get to that age, I absolutely don't think that I'll be as sprightly or anything like that.
Why not?
I don't know, just sort of feeling.
Because you're burning yourself. No, you're saying that now because you're burning yourself out. You're burning it. I mean, because you get up at 2:30 in the morning, and you can do it for a while, and eventually it just smacks you in the face. It really does. I know. I always remember when we were at the other radio station, you'd see, and I was doing the Radio London stuff, and you'd see the producers would change a little bit when Mel wasn't on. And, they'd be all young and sprightly, and they were young in their early 20s. And after like a few months, they would look grey in the face. They were haggard. And then they'd change shifts, and then they'd come back and they'd look revived. You could see it absolutely aged them.
See, I think that's actually where I've gone slightly wrong. Is because that over the last year, apart from Christmas time, Christmas, New Year, I haven't taken any time off. I've literally worked pretty much non-stop, which I know I'm incredibly lucky for. And believe me, that's probably kind of the reason why I've done it. But I have worked pretty much non-stop since the start of all of the pandemic. And I think it's because I have such an enormous sense of gratitude. The fact that I was lucky enough to keep my job all the way through it.
Precisely.
That I just thought, well, it seems like such an insult to turn around and ask for time off because I'm tired. I mean, I try telling that to those who haven't worked for the last God knows how long.
This is the problem, isn't it? You kind of feel segued into it. Michael Verby in Spain visiting his sister Stacey, who I last saw. She was 5. I think she was 5. I got it many years ago. Our parents, that was be Malcolm and Anita Verby, and my mum and dad, were at a party with Fluff. They were party animals, let's be honest about it, who burned himself on a candle. So I didn't know any of this. So my dad and Michael Verby's dad, Malcolm, took him to casualty. The hell are the chances of this? Is bizarre. Only on radio would you get this. That's incredible. An extraordinary story. That's funny. Ed Grote.
Can you imagine though when he got to A&E and the nurse said, "Right, which cubicle? In at number 1."
You do the. That's extra. Wish I'd met Elvis, says Melanie Hutchins. Yeah, we all. Michael Verby, Tony Blackman was hung out to dry by the BBC. Well, the BBC turned everybody out. Tony Blackman is 78. Do you think Diane Taylor? I could ask him. I'm great. I'm jealous. I'd love to have met Muffin the Mule. Here comes Muffin the Mule. Good old Muffin the Mule. You think I'm joking? That's what it sounded like. I met Noel Edmonds once, says Martin Allen. Nice fella, until I told him I preferred Tiswas, which I still love, to Swap Shop. I worked with Noel, did some writing for him. Always thought he was lovely. As it so happens, I always thought he was absolutely charming. But he is an example. He is this is a nice thing. Don't worry, it's not contentious. If you had the faces of BBC, and this is a kind of lesson for life and lesson why I take what I do seriously, but I don't take these aspects of life seriously. He was the face of BBC. No one was bigger than Noel Edmonds. And then one minute everything's great and he's everywhere, and then suddenly it's like a light switch, boom. And I was invited to it was a party or a charity, and I met Noel. I said, God, no, I haven't seen you for ages. We're chatting on the steps. We're going up to this place. And he said, I know. And he couldn't get arrested. Out of nowhere. And then suddenly along comes Deal or No Deal, and everything's fabulous again. It can be very, very, very cruel. Just ask Esther Rantzen. Nobody more powerful of women presenters than Esther Rantzen. Everywhere, the flagship face of the BBC, and suddenly, boom, bye bye.
Well,
it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, but then again, when they axed the show, they told her that's life.
It was much worse than I get the gag. It was much worse than that. It was horrible. They called her in for lunch and said, "Would you like to come in?" She went in, what she thought was lunch, and they said, "Oh, we just want to thank you for your service. Thanks very much." She stood there. This is Esther Ranson, the most, who made them a fortune, who had huge shows with huge followings, and there was no lunch. When you meet Esther, she's on a one-to-one basis. She's lovely. When you're just chatting on a one-to-one basis, she's absolutely delightful. I know a lot of people say, "Well, she destroyed my business," or this, that. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the professional side. I'm talking about the actual person. Couldn't be more charming.
When I interviewed her, which I was lucky enough to do once, I got to the end of the interview, and she was, after I'd finished, and she, doesn't matter what she said, but she did compliment me and what I did, and I thought, "Oh wow, that's Esther Ranson saying." And there was something about it, and I thought there were two things to that. Number one, I thought, well, if Esther Ranson saying that, then maybe there's something in this.
Yes. Yeah.
And number two, I thought, that's Esther Ranson saying this. She doesn't need to say that to a schnip like me, who she hasn't got a clue who I am.
Doesn't matter. But, two things. Paul Andrews, Paul, interesting way, nonetheless, dear boy, to hand in your resignation. So I look forward to hearing about whoever employs you next. Thank you, that'll be all. And Paul Andrews' stomach has just turned to ice after I did that to him. You have to read his comment, you'll understand why. I think, and I've always gone through life like this, if you lose your sense of wonder, and Phil's got it, and I totally have it. And people just think I'm being disingenuous, but I don't. I have an absolute sense of wonder at it. That a part of you dies inside. Part of you dies inside. It's that sense of wonder of like, look what life's. Wow, this is amazing. Yeah, there's loads of problems and this, that, and the other. But if you lose that, like, where was that taxi outside with the engine running? Paul, you think your last show was today? Actually, it was yesterday, but thank you for your service. I think you know where the front door is. Terrifying, man. Terrifying, man. God, thank God he liked me. Well, he put up with me, didn't he? Because we were making a fortune for him. We were making him a fortune, so he just left us alone. It was fine. Thank you, Paul. When I need your comments, I'll let you know. I'm listening to the Snoop tape on your show. We'd be happy you'd like to explain this comment. Jesus. Oh, God. There's very few people that made me like, please God, don't let him be walking down the corridor. He was one of them.
It was almost like, the reaction one gets, and no offense to Richard Park, but the reaction one gets when they can smell something unpleasant. Don't get me wrong, I don't mean that about Richard Park.
No, please be careful. He's quite litigious.
No, but you know what I mean. In other words, you freeze on the spot as if to say, hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Because the
guy was brilliant. The guy was brilliant.
To come to terms. Your senses are trying to come to terms. I felt when I was in the presence of him, it was a little bit like that. I thought, oh my goodness me, I'm actually sort of almost rigid with fear. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why was I like that? And I hadn't done anything wrong.
Doesn't matter. Some people emanate that sort of, I can destroy you just like that, and it's within my remit. I can just click my fingers in your history, and that's good. But the guy was a genius. The guy was brilliant. He was a local radio DJ. Dr. Dick's Pick to Click was his big shtick at university gigs, and he was no different from any other local radio DJ. And he became, without doubt and huge credit, the most powerful man in commercial radio in the world, not just in Britain, in the world. Now that takes talent, whatever one may say. It takes huge talent, and his success rate is there to be seen. His success was huge, off the scale. So that takes a lot of talent and a lot of ability. So you make a deal, that's it. That's what you do. If only we had some talent. the show won't have been all right today. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Really, really enjoyed it. Really good show today, says Ed. Very light, so good. Thank you. Yeah, I think we were in that kind of incredible guy for track record. Can we get this show going for another hour today, please?
No, but anyway,
I think your son has spoken there.
no, fair.
I think he's given the unequivocal answer to your very charming and nice question. Wouldn't have bothered me, but no, Mr.
Right,
Union, Mr.
I'll
Union.
see you on Wednesday at midday.
Yes, Wednesday midday. Until then, you stay safe.
Thanks for listening.